Sheridan. My coaching business is Flutter Space, and it's a place for teens to spread their wings. I offer life coaching, mindfulness, and yoga and mindset training. My most difficult years were my preteen and teenage years. My parents, as product of immigrants, had really strong cultural ties. And whenever I invited a friend over, there was always a lot of questions from my friends. Why do your parents have accents? What kind of food are we eating for dinner? What is this? And it made me feel really different. And while my friends loved me and supported me, I had a very difficult time learning to engage with what my roots are and who I can be as a teenager with my own voice. In addition to that, my father was diagnosed with a spinal cord disability and was left wheelchair bound about the time I was 10. So all of these traumatic events in my life, my parents did the best they can. They loved me. They were really supportive, but they didn't have the tools to teach me and how to empower me as Tammi. They call me Tamada, and in their voices, that's my full name. And they didn't have the tools because they weren't raised in the same manner I was being raised. So I find that experience as a preteen and teen left me with a lot of questions. And in my 20s, I moved across the country, and I moved from New Jersey to California. And I experienced severe anxiety moving across the country. I couldn't even be in traffic without sweaty palms and a racing heart. And I knew I needed help. So I reached out for professional help and spent 7 years in therapy. And those years in therapy were absolutely the best, most well spent time of my life, because I was able to go through what makes me me and embrace it. So as a coach, I want to take what I learned from my experience as a teen with parents from a different culture, with parents with health problems, and what I learned on my journey across the country to inspire today's youth to be able to do the same regardless of their circumstance. So my biggest inspiration for being a coach is being in the classroom for over 15 years. And as a teacher, I see a wide variety of students, each with their own story. And in the classroom, I have content to teach. And while I try my best for a sense of community, I don't necessarily get to hear my students' voices as loud and clear as I'd like to. So coaching for me is an opportunity for teenagers to be seen, for them to be heard, for them to feel confident in order to make the choices that best suit them as they transition post-high school and into young adults. My coaching business is for teens, and it's rooted in mindfulness and present moment awareness. So the clients that I work with, I like to sprinkle in a lot of mindfulness techniques within my sessions. So if that is starting with a pause or ending with a check-in on how he or she is feeling, that is really the basis of my coaching practice. And mostly because mindfulness has had a great impact on me and has helped me be able to feel what it's like in the complexities of the world and lean into it instead of feeling like it's overwhelming. So currently I work one-on-one with teenagers in my business, but the vision is to grow to be able to co-facilitate coaching groups, affinity groups for teenagers who identify in the LGBTQ+ community, BIPOC, and any other marginalized groups. So I would also love to co-facilitate and help lead retreats for students 2 or 3 nights to be able to incorporate clean eating outdoor activities, group coaching, some bonding time, and some yoga and mindfulness to be able to give teenagers a space to be themselves without all of the distractions of today's world. I have written down on my laptop, be curious and let them figure it out. And I'm looking towards that right now. I have that as my own advice for myself towards what I'm going to give as a coach. That's also my biggest advice for anybody starting out and as a new coach, is to be curious and let the client figure it out themselves. I think there's a tendency to want to not only hold space for our clients, but to get them in a certain direction. And while we have the best intentions, it's up to our clients to know what's best for them and how they can go off confidently in the direction they want. So my biggest piece of advice for somebody younger is to be okay with the unknown, which is wildly hard for anybody. However, staying open in tough times and not projecting your agenda or personal wills and wants will allow for a lot of open opportunities if you're able to really hold on for the ride. So that's my biggest piece of advice. Personally, coaching means to remember your roots and trust your wings. So know where you come from, know where you came from, and trust that you have the ability to use and leverage that as a coach to tap into exactly what your client needs. So coaching has allowed me to reach teens in ways that I can't professionally as a teacher. As a public education teacher, there are limitations to the system, and part of those limitations are large classrooms and content that the students need to know in order to graduate. However, coaching has really allowed me to find the space in between all of that that helps teens make real-world connection to what they're learning in school and personal growth. So without coaching, I didn't really feel fulfilled as a teacher. But now that I can pair my business platform with how I engage with teenagers in the classroom, it inspires me to see that they know who they want to become. I had the greatest coaches and coach trainers to work with at Coach Training EDU. So shout out to Brittany and Hannah. And they taught me, ironically, that even as a mindfulness instructor, my biggest discomfort was with a pause. So it's funny that the thing that I find to be most valuable and rooted in my coaching business is something that I have to continue to come back to and work on. It's a practice, and I've learned that trusting the silence in between coach and client and learning and exploring within that silence that it's actually a learning opportunity and it's a coaching opportunity, and that we don't need to fill every minute with words. So Coach Training EDU really helped me transform from thinking of coaching as an idea to using it as a business platform. So I felt like I was really well supported in being able to understand how to ask the right questions, how to inspire clients, but also how to make a business that honored what I valued most. And it was really awesome to see how many people in my cohort had a completely different vision for how they wanted to use coaching. And we were all able to be supported and well provided with materials in order to get our own versions of what we wanted running and off the ground. I've really been inspired by Howard Stern and Lady Gaga. Now, I know they sound perhaps like curious choices, but what I admire about both of them is that they are, first of all, fabulous performers, and they are true to themselves. So I have always been inspired by Lady Gaga's uniqueness, her struggles with mental health, yet overcoming them, and how she writes and sings about them in her songs. I find that I identify with her songs. I identify with her uniqueness, and also how she's an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. Howard Stern, I think, is a master interviewer, and he is someone who I really look up to because he is able to ask the right questions to whoever he interviews and make the interview something that I would want to stay in my car for 15 more minutes to listen to what he's going to draw out of them. And as a coach, I really admire that realness of him. I also really admire that he can take the most mundane activity and create an entire 4-hour radio show over it. So I value that. I value that space in between. And I've come back to, as a teacher and a coach, a lot of times, well, Howard asked this question actually. And he was, I don't have Sirius anymore, so I haven't listened to him in a few years, but I find those two celebrities have highly inspired me for those reasons. So when I was a freshman in college, it was the first time on my own, and I had a really tough first semester academically. I had the lowest GPA of my entire educational career. School had come easy to me in grade school and high school. So it really kicked my butt, and I applied for a part-time job at the dean's office, and the deans took one look at my GPA and my first semester and said, you need to have really strong grades to work here. And so I said, I understand. I don't think that this semester is a real reflection of what I can do. I've had a really difficult time transitioning from my parents' house to college, and if you just give me another chance, I know I can get my grades up. So I worked really hard the second semester of my freshman year of college, and I got my GPA up to what I would be really proud of. I went back to the dean's office and I showed them my transcript, and they said, congratulations, Tammi, you have a job. And the associate dean who really looked out for me, her name is Julie Traxler, and she still works at Rutgers University. And she basically took a chance on me, and also knew, I think, based on when I came in there, she saw someone who probably needed a little extra help, a little extra guidance. And instead of just turning me down or offering me the part-time job, she made me work for it and prove that I can do something for myself. So Dean Traxler was someone who I really looked up to. I worked at the dean's office in college for all 4 years, and she helped me get my first full-time teaching job straight out of college. And to this day, we still exchange holiday cards and continue to be in touch online. So I'm forever indebted to her being able to take that chance on me.